Live. Hello, everybody. So, is your money safe? This is something that lots of people have been talking about lately with very good reason. And that is what I want us to dive into today. That's the question I want us to dive into today. Is your money safe? So, my name is Miata Udoga. I am the CEO and founder of Abundance Bound, and I'm the creator of the Financial Empowerment Program. This is the only step by step financial education and guidance designed specifically for creatives and non traditional earners of all kinds to learn precisely what you need to do to stop feeling like money is the one thing keeping you from living the life that you want. So, as I've been saying for the last few weeks that we've been going live, there are three keys to creating a relationship with money that allows you to thrive. You must be willing to strengthen your money mindset, your money management, and your ability to make more. So these are the muscles that I want to use these lives to help us develop. And today, in talking about the question, is your money safe? That actually brings in two pieces. It brings in our money mindset, right? But it also brings in our money management. So, the really practical things that we need to be doing in order to ensure that our money is safe. So, I want to start today by just telling you a little story about a client that I was working with. And this client is actually doing extremely well in her creative career. She's a very successful long-time editor. And she came to me, and one of the things that she said when she started coaching is she said she really wanted to make sure that her money was safe. She wanted to make it really clear to me that she was not someone who was interested in doing anything fancy or taking any risks. She wanted her money to be safe. And of course, I absolutely affirmed that. I am not interested in having anybody do anything fancy or do anything that isn't safe. But she was really talking about investing and just wanting to make it clear that, like, she wasn't really, she wasn't sure that she wanted to quote unquote invest. And so one of the things that I asked her to do was to send me all of her account balances and where those accounts were. And so she did that. And it turned out that the vast majority of her money was sitting in a few different accounts at Chase Bank. Okay. So in total, she actually had over $650,000 in accounts just at Chase Bank. And then she had an S corp, and she had set up a retirement plan through her S corp, and she had that retirement plan. And she was also a part of a company, and they had kind of a profit sharing plan, and she had that as well. But the bulk of her individual savings were sitting in about three different accounts at Chase. And so, what I want to draw your attention to, because of course, this was the very first thing that I had to draw her attention to, is that she was coming to me with a mindset of fear. Okay. And her fear was around losing her money. And her fear was what was keeping her from investing. Right? And so, in her fear, she was keeping her money sitting in bank accounts at Chase, and she thought that her money was safe. Okay. Now, what the news has shown us, for anyone who wasn't aware of this, but it has become painfully, painfully clear for a lot of people in the recent weeks with the failure of Silicon Valley Bank, is that our money, when we have our money sitting in deposit accounts, so checking accounts, savings accounts, CDs at a bank, our money is actually only protected. It is only what is called FDIC insured up to $250,000. So, in the case of this client, and this is why I said that this was a conversation both about mindset and also about management, what's really, really interesting is that because she had a mindset of fear, and what we say is that that is her mindset was really being led by emotion. Okay. Emotions are completely normal, completely natural. We just don't want them to be leading our behavior. And she lacked clarity, right? So in this case, the emotion of fear is what was directing her behavior, but she lacked clarity about what the rules were and what protection existed or didn't exist for her funds. She believed that by not investing, her money was safe, when in fact she had put her money at risk by virtue of the fact that she had it sitting in 3 accounts at Chase Bank, over $650,000. So 350, 450, 550. So about 400,000 of her savings was actually not safe. And it's really interesting, right? Because we do not expect banks to fail. But as we have seen, and it is very, very uncommon, but as we have seen, it is not impossible. And even though the government has stepped in and has absolutely assured that they are going to make all of the depositors at Silicon Valley Bank whole, and so what that means is everybody deposited with funds that were deposited at that bank, even in excess of $250,000, the government has stepped in and said that they will make all of those depositors whole. They will make sure that they get their money back. This certainly can serve as one of those stories that reminds us and or makes us aware of this fact, which is that FDIC insurance, okay, only covers us for $250,000 in protection per account. Now, I want to take a moment to clarify, because there are some, what's the word I'm looking for? There are some nuances to that rule. Okay, so first of all, it is per type of account. And one of the things that I'm going to encourage everybody to go take a look at after this live or when you have some time this week, what those types of accounts are, what those categories of accounts are. What I want to focus us in on is the most common type of account is what is known as an individual deposit account. And those accounts include checking accounts, they include savings accounts, they include CDs, so certificates of deposits. So if you were to have, as my client did, have $250,000 in one checking account and another $250,000 in a savings account in your name, and maybe another $150,000 in a certificate of deposit in your name, those are all individual deposit accounts. They are the same category. And what that means is that $250,000 of protection would apply to that entire amount. Okay, so this was the case with my client. She had $650,000 in 3 different accounts, but because they were all individual deposit accounts, she was only insured up to $250,000. Okay, now there are other categories of accounts that would extend your protection. So if you had, for instance, a joint account at that same institution. So if you had an individual account, that would be insured for $250,000. And then if you also had a joint account that you shared with a partner, that account would be insured up to $250,000 for each of you. Okay, so that joint account would also be insured for up to $500,000. If you have retirement accounts at that same institution, that is a separate category of account. Now, this can get a little bit complicated, but I do want to make sure we're clear. If you've invested in that investment account in, let's say, the stock market, that is not insured by the FDIC. But if you have a retirement account and some of your money is in that retirement account in a kind of cash holding, a certificate of deposit, or a higher interest savings account, that would be insured as a separate category. Another thing that I just want to note is that for your individual deposit accounts, if you have beneficiaries listed on those accounts, so the people who would get the account if something were to happen to you, the beneficiaries also increase your coverage. So your first beneficiary, you're only covered the same $250,000. But if you have a second beneficiary, now that account is protected up to $500,000, a third, $750,000, and so on and so forth, all the way up to a maximum of 5 beneficiaries, which would be 1.25. Can't do math on the fly, $1 million in coverage. Okay, now I absolutely understand, everyone, that some of you may be saying, why are we talking about this? Like, how many of us actually have more than $250,000 sitting at a single institution? So first of all, what I would say is that it can, and especially in the world of a non-traditional earner, it can absolutely happen much faster than you think. In the 18 years that Abundance Bound has been in business, I have worked with hundreds of clients who have gone from well below that number to above that number very, very rapidly. It's one of the potential upsides of being a non-traditional earner, right? We have lots of challenges that come with choosing a non-traditional career path, but one of the upsides is the ability to actually grow quickly. And so one of the things that I always stress is how important it is that we put our systems in place with the amount of money that you have right now. So all of the members of our financial empowerment program, a big part of what we do very early on is you create the home for where your money is going to go as your money comes in. We really put in place the structure, the foundation. So you may have heard me say, if you've been in my orbit for any period of time, that I had a teacher early on who said to me, Miata, the universe is not going to deliver $1 million into chaos. And what I really grew to understand is that if we want abundance in our lives, and I would argue that every single person who has taken the time to jump on this live, you are someone who is seeking to create abundance in your life. You have to ask yourself, is the structure that you have in place, is that structure set up to truly welcome and support abundance? If that $1 million comes into your life, do you have the structure set up to support it so that it doesn't just come into your life, it actually stays? And so, really diversifying and being very clear about where your money is and what purpose it's serving, we want to start doing that with whatever amount we have right now, so that as it grows, we are already set up for that increase to have a place to go. Because what was really interesting about this client, right? And the thing that often people will say is, how did she not know that, she was only insured up to $250,000? I have actually found that to be a really common piece of information that many of us do not have. It is something that we're simply not taught. And so you think, I've chosen a solid bank. It's a bank where lots of people have their money, and we assume that our money is safe, and we don't actually know what the fine print of that is. But what I will also tell you about this client is that her career had been on kind of a rocket ship trajectory for the past 6 years. And this is what happens. We all say to ourselves, oh, as soon as money starts coming into my life, then I'll show up to my money. But the issue is, first of all, that money often doesn't come into our lives because we haven't shown up to the money, but also at the very point when abundance starts to come, that is the point when you are likely to be extremely busy. And energetically, this is what I say to our members all the time. I want you to be able to put all of your energy on the opportunities that are in front of you. And that is why setting up your systems and your structures and really making decisions about what's right for you in terms of where your money is going to live and how you're going to get your money growing and building wealth, we actually want to do that while things are quiet. And while you have the ability to put your attention in that area. What we absolutely do not want, and this is the other thing that we say a lot, is we say, oh, as soon as I have money, I'll just let someone else handle it for me. I'm just going to pay someone. I'm not good at numbers. One of the hugest mistakes that you can make. No one will care about your money more than you do. No one. And in fact, in many cases, and we see this over and over and over again, what people's interests are is often not your best interests, even if you are, quote unquote, hiring them to look out for your money. You will always have to be the person leading. And if you haven't taken the time to get clear on your systems to understand where you want your money to go, you will be blindly putting all of that power in someone else's hands without you even having the clarity to really know and understand if something is going wrong or if they are being less than honest with you. Okay. So what happened in the case of this client was that honestly, she got so busy that it took a long time before she was able to quiet for a moment and say, I need to get some clarity and I need to get some help. So one of the very first things that we did was to actually no, that's not the word I'm looking for, divert her funds to some different places. And again, she wasn't ready for the stock market, okay? But what I want to point you to is the fact that not only was her money not safe sitting in a single institution, but she also was losing out on thousands and thousands of dollars in interest that she could have been earning not in the stock market, simply by putting her money, by putting her savings into higher interest accounts. So let's take a look at this for a moment. And if you have a pen or your phone, and I am going to, I think I'm going to do it with my phone, except, oh, I can't do it with my phone because I'm recording on my phone. Okay, so here's what I want you guys to do. Oh, bummer, sorry. I was going to be doing this live from my computer, but then it wasn't working. So now I'm using my phone and I wanted to do these calculations with you, but I can't now do the calculations because I'm recording on my phone. But here's what I want you to pay attention to. It's the fact that with all of her money sitting at Chase Bank, at the time, she was earning 0.01% in interest. Okay, her APR, which stands for annual percentage rate, was 0.01% every year. Okay, I will not try to do math on the fly, everyone, because I'm horrible at math on the fly. But what I want you to do is I want you to take $600,000 and multiply it by 0.01%. And I believe you will see that she was earning like $6 a year on that money. All right. Now, this is something that you can all go away and take a look at in terms of your savings, whatever savings you have right now. There's an account called Wealthfront, okay? Wealthfront, F-R-O-N-T. You can go to wealthfront.com. That right now, on a regular savings account, totally 100% FDIC insured, so up to that $250,000 limit, Wealthfront right now is paying 4.3%. 4.3% on your savings. Okay, so again, I will ask you to go away and do the math on that $600,000 that this client had, earning 0.01% in interest, and now multiply $600,000 times 4.3%. And that is the amount that amount in savings, totally safe, right? Now, again, we would only have her put $250,000 in one, although if she had beneficiaries, we could add the beneficiaries to that account to bring the protection way up so that she could really take advantage of that high interest rate. Otherwise, we would have her look at other institutions that are also, right now, everyone, you can go to creditkarma.com, you can go to bankrate.com, and you can plug in high interest savings accounts, also sometimes called money market accounts. These are accounts that you have complete freedom. You can put money in, you can take money out. They're not tied up for any time at all. These accounts have zero fees. In general, they have a zero, like you have to keep like $1 in the account. So there are no minimum account balances required, and you can be earning these high interest rates, okay? So do those calculations using this client example of 600,000, and what you will see is literally that at that interest rate annually, she would be earning, it's crazy. It was like, I believe at that interest rate, it was something like $17,000 annually. It may even have been more. So we're literally looking at the difference between like $6 annually and thousands of dollars annually. And all of that, and this comes back to mindset, came from the place of her desire to keep her money safe. Okay? So, what we do not know, what we do not understand, combined with our extremely human emotions, can have an extremely clear and prevalent opportunity cost. And that is one of the many reasons that paying attention to your financial relationship, being willing to actually honor the relationship, to learn, to explore, to ask questions, it is really one of the reasons why that is so critical. Okay? So that was what I wanted to talk about today. You know, with everything in the news right now, there's been so much attention on the safety of our funds. And again, while I understand that you may not feel like this is relevant for you, what I always say to our financial empowerment program members is I always say it is about how much you are willing to earn on whatever amount of money you have. April, you're so very welcome. I just saw your note go through. What are you willing to earn on whatever amount of money that you have? So if you have $100 in savings, I never want to hear you say, oh, well, it's only $100. Are you willing to earn as much on that 100 as you can? So that is why all of us, right? Everyone here, you need to keep enough in your checking account for you to be stable. Okay, you need to keep enough there so that you're not overdrawing. And I understand, especially as non-traditional earners, that instability phase can be long and it can be significant. But as you stabilize and you're not in danger of overdrawing your account and incurring those fees, what we work on in the financial empowerment program is having you slowly start moving what we call your planned savings over into higher interest accounts. Because again, $100 earning 4.3% annually versus $100 earning 0.01% annually, that difference is significant, okay? And what you want to do is build that muscle today of always having your money earn as much as it possibly can. And again, your planned savings is savings that you're going to be dipping into as a non-traditional earner. So I am not talking about you putting your money away in the stock market and not having access to it. I'm literally talking about it being 24 to 48 hours away from being able to be moved right back into your account with zero fees, zero trouble. So build the muscle. Let's get our money earning as much as it possibly can be earning today whatever amount you have available to you right now. Okay? So that's today's Monday tip, today's Monday conversation. I will just scroll for a second to see anyone, if you have any questions about mindset, management, or making more, please feel free to pop that question in the chat. I'll give us just a second. Do you have any questions about everything we've just talked about? Go take a look at Wealthfront. I understand also they have made their account platform incredibly user-friendly. We've had members who have opened accounts there just in the last couple of days. They give you the ability to divide your account up into segments so that you can put money into different segments, as it were, of things that you'd like to be saving for. So can this apply if we have under $15,000 in credit card debt, but are still earning? So I believe that what you're asking is, should we be saving if we still have credit card debt? And yes, our philosophy and everything we teach at Abundance Bound is yes, yes, yes. And this is something, please feel free to shoot us an email, and this is for everyone, at info@abundancebound.com for any topics that you'd like for me to talk a little bit more about in these lives. But we absolutely do not buy into the education that says, as long as you have debt, you should be putting everything towards that debt and you should not be saving. I understand the math of it, right? I understand the math that says, well, why should you just be saving over here at 4.3% when you have debt at, 15.99% or higher? Every dollar should be going there. Except for that doesn't take into account humans, the fact that we are human, and only seeing something go down. And we have seen this over 18 years that we have been serving non-traditional earners. Just seeing something go down generally does not have enough power to keep us motivated. And we also have to question why, as a nation, if that philosophy works, that we should just put all of our energy into debt. Why do we remain a nation that is so significantly in debt, and people get out of debt and then they go back into it again? And what we have seen proven over and over again in our programs is that when you have both a debt plan and a wealth plan in place, and you are working on both, yes, everyone, of course, we are going to have you put the largest amount of energy towards the debt plan, or I shouldn't even say energy, we're going to put the largest amount of available funds towards the debt plan and the smaller amount towards the wealth plan. But what we have seen play out now thousands of times is our members who they pay off their debt and then their wealth skyrockets because the entire time that they were paying down their debt, they were also building the muscle of building wealth. Okay, so I hope I'm answering that question in terms of what you actually meant. But I would say, yes, go ahead and open your high interest savings account. Wealthfront might be a great place to start. And it may be for now that you are putting $25 a month into that wealth account, and the rest of your extra is going towards your debt plan. But then what we'll do is, as you pay off your debt, you will be able to increase the amount that is going towards wealth. And I think that is incredibly important. So, what are some healthy money mindset actions? What I am going to point you towards is, what are you reading and what are you listening to? Okay. So, in the financial empowerment program, we have an entire course that is solely about mindset, that is solely about actually understanding the brain, right? It's not that we're all running out to be scientists, but understanding how the brain works and how, therefore, it can automatically work against you if you don't have that awareness and understanding. And at the core, what we need to be doing is strengthening our ability to focus our minds on what we can actually do, what actions we can actually take. So, Soul Sister, who asked this question, what I would say is, this is not about positive thinking, or at least what is sort of traditionally sold as positive thinking, that I just want you to have good thoughts and good thoughts about your money. This is about the fact that in order to take action, we have to be feeling that we have agency. We have to be feeling that there is hope. Okay. And so, one of the greatest things that we can do is we can build our hope, and we can build the muscle that what we say, we do, even on a very small scale. That when you say, I am going to sit down and get clear on exactly how I am spending, you sit down and you get clear on exactly how you're spending, that you prove to yourself that you will follow through on the things that you say that you're going to do. And in order to have the strength to be able to do that, I think we can really start by looking at, please feel free to send an email and I can send you some concrete suggestions, but looking at what podcasts you're listening to or what books you're listening to. These are all things that can be done completely free of cost to really strengthen how we are thinking and strengthen, therefore, our ability to take actions that then strengthen our results, that then strengthens how we're thinking, and the cycle continues. Okay, so again, info@abundancebound.com. We're so happy to send you some suggestions for some books that you can listen to and or podcasts that might be helpful. And I think I saw one more question. Yes, the psychology of money and overcoming under earning is absolutely excellent. And let me see, did I see another question go through? Could you recommend some of those podcasts, especially for us non-traditional earners? So this is interesting, right? Because I don't know offhand of podcasts that's, oh, again, look at me looking for my phone and it's up here, of podcasts that speak specifically to non-traditional earners. But there are definitely podcasts that help me just keep my mind on straight, if that makes sense. And also books. So The Soul of Money, that's a great one. Another person in general that I would recommend is, if you go to, I believe give me one second, everybody. I believe the website is now, no, it's not. Hold on, give me one second, because This is one that's been huge for me. I don't have a podcast per se. Okay. If you go to heroic.us, so heroic.us, okay, /optimize, right? Heroic.us /optimize, OPTIMIZE. And you can sign up completely for free to receive these micro lessons that the leader of that company, Brian Johnson, these micro lessons that he does. And these micro lessons are all based on books, okay? And so what I have loved, I have followed Brian and learned from Brian for years and years and years. What I love is that he'll give me something to really think about when it comes to my mindset, or frankly, any area. And then I can decide if I want to dive deeper into the book. Okay. So that is really what helps me to find books that I'll then take out of the library, either to read on my Kindle or to listen to. I really, really recommend the Libby library app if you don't have that, because it allows you, again, to listen to audiobooks and also to read digital books 100% for free. And some other, again, I know I'm leaning now towards books, but I would really recommend The Tools by Phil Stutz. Okay, The Tools. And I am also a huge, huge fan of Michael Singer. And the book that I would start with is The Untethered Soul. The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Okay. So I know I said podcasts, and now I can't think of any podcasts off the top of my head, although there are many I listen to. So again, feel free to email me and I can give you some of my favorite titles. But those books will really, really get you started on being able to dive into how are you thinking, and in what ways is your thinking not serving you? Okay. Great. These book suggestions are helpful. Wonderful, wonderful. I will tell you all that my huge focus for this year, I have three, but one of the three is mindset. And I will tell you that mindset is an area that when I started this work myself over 25 years ago, I was very dismissive of. I was over $80,000 in credit card debt. And I really was just like, I don't want anyone to talk to me about mindset. Like, tell me how to fix my credit card debt. And it's a deeper conversation, but I have absolutely come to understand that it is at the core of everything we do or don't do. And that's why I said at the beginning, here at Abundance Bound, we focus on three key areas. We focus on our money mindset, our money management, and on building our skills around making more. And if we have to put those in order, we have ways of working with our members on doing all of them simultaneously. But if we have to put them in order, it is absolutely mindset first, followed by management, followed by making more. We must stop believing that making more is what is going to solve everything else. I promise you, I know it's hard to believe me, but I promise you, it will not. It will not. Making more will not solve everything else. But if we focus on our mindset and our management, if we focus on those two areas, the money will follow. Thank you guys. Thank you for such wonderful questions. I hope you will join me next week. This will really be the format from now on. I will come with a topic, something that I would like to talk a little bit about, and then I will absolutely open it up for your questions. Feel free to email info@abundancebound.com if there are things that you would particularly like us to look at. And in the meantime, thank you for joining me and have such a wonderful week. Bye, everybody. I don't know how to stop this live. Oh, there we go.